Jennifer, when I say to you, Tampa Armature Works, what's the first thing that comes to mind?
I think of food.
You think of food. Okay. Well, I have no food for you, but yet I am at Tampa Armature Works. Now, how do you explain that, Jen?
I don't know.
I am at Tampa Armature Works this morning, but there's no food.
Hey, you look like you're in an office or something.
Because Tampa Armature Works is actually a company that started here in Tampa in 1921. And in fact, they used to occupy a building down on the Hillsborough River, a beautiful brick building, and they had Tampa Armature Works actually inside the bricks on the building. Well, they needed a bigger facility, and they had to move out of that building, and they moved to nice new facilities down in Riverview area and Tampa, that area of Tampa, Hillsborough County. And that other brick building was left there, and then somebody bought it and thought, well, gosh, all this beautiful brickwork, and it says Tampa Armature Works, maybe we should just keep this name and reinvent it as restaurants and bars and event space. And they did that. But I'm not there. I'm at Tampa Armature Works that started in 1921, working on giant motors. And this is like, they're the experts in power at this company. We've all benefited from their work and didn't even know it because all of the power companies in our area are clients. You ever go to a theme park in Central Florida and ride a ride, chances are they built the controllers for those rides. And they're still doing work on generators and military contracts. And if it comes to power, they have the power at Tampa Armature Works. So we're going OG this morning. we're going to the originators, Tampa Armature Works. And yes, sometimes people show up in Riverview looking for the wedding reception or looking for the restaurant or bar, and they go, no, 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 that's the other Tampa Armature Works. So we'll talk about the confusion of the name, but the originators, the 1921 company is still owned and operated by the same family after all these years. I'll give you a true history of Tampa Armature Works. I bet it's my turn to talk, isn't it? Gets real quiet. That's my time. Hey, everybody, I'm Charley Belcher coming to you from Tampa Armature Works. Is this not the building you were picturing in your head when I said that? Or maybe you're smarter than the average bear and you knew this? This is the original. Actually, this isn't the original building, but it's the original company called Tampa Armature Works that is now something completely different in Tampa. But this company's still doing what they've done since 1921. I'll explain all that if you stay tuned and have a good day with us.
I don't think Charlie's seen last night's yet.
No, I don't want to ruin it, and I'm not saying anymore.
Don't tell me about last night's episode. I'll watch it this afternoon.
I promise you I won't.
Spoiler alert, it's going to be a good day, Tampa Bay. That's a spoiler. I'm going to give that away right now. It's going to be a good day as long as you stay tuned. And I'm going to take you to Tampa Armature Works. May not be what you're thinking, but there's the original Tampa Armature Works building in downtown Tampa. No, that's not the building on the river either. We're not on the building by the river, which is now restaurants and bars and event space. We are where they worked on motors, and it went from there. And we'll explain next. Good day, Tampa Bay. I'm Charley Belcher coming to you from Tampa Armature Works, but I'm nowhere near the Hillsborough River. If that confuses you, you're not the only one. People sometimes show up here for wedding receptions, and they're told, no, 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 no. Well, this is the Riverview area. You need to head back up to Tampa. And we'll explain it a little bit. Mr. Turner here is you are Tampa Armature Works. Your family certainly is.
Well, thank you.
1921, your grandfather started Tampa Armature Works. And what did it do in 1921, sir?
Well, it still has an original core business, which is the repair of electric motors and equipment associated with industry. So, you know, back in the early 20s, most large companies had their own electric shop, which took care of all their equipment.
We're going to show some old pictures while you're talking, by the way. I just want to make sure.
So anyway, he felt that was very inefficient. So he thought he could go start his own business, the American dream, and consolidate all these different service shops. So here we are nearly 100 years later.
Wow. So grandfather starts it, your dad takes over the business at some point. At 14 years old, you're working for the business. And
here I am.
Never left?
Never had another job. This is the only one, so.
Meanwhile, you've continued to expand. I mean, it's hard for me to articulate exactly what you do in a couple of sentences, but it's a lot. You work with all the major power companies. You're doing controllers for thrill rides at theme parks. Very popular ones in Central Florida. You have military contracts. You're dealing with power and motors everywhere.
That's true, but it's really the control and use of electricity. So whether that electricity is used to run your air conditioning system or to run a utility, just same principles.
And the place that we all know now, the restaurant and bars and event space, they wanted to keep the name because it was already in brick in the building and they thought it sounded cool, and you guys said, okay?
We did. They called up and very humbly asked if they could use the name because there are lots of trolley car barns across the country, but there's only one Armature Works.
Yeah.
So they kind of stopped the Tampa and just used Armature Works as a branding, but we're thrilled that they did it. It's a great legacy.
It is.
We owned the building for over 50 years.
Wow.
So.
And now they own it.
Now they have it.
When we come back, we're going to show you exactly what they do now at Tampa Armature Works.
I think we're all learning what an armature is for the first time.
Yeah,
right?
Okay, well, you can explain it to me then, because I'm still getting my head around it.
All right, Charlie, thank you. Oh, and Charley Belcher is out at Armature Works this morning. Not that Armature Works, not the one you're thinking.
Yeah.
The original Armature Works. Hey, Charlie.
But Tampa Armature Works. I think that's going to be my differentiating point now. Armature Works, that's where you go and have a drink and have some food and maybe see an event there. Tampa Armature Works, well, they started with this small motor repair. Yes, that's a small motor. In fact, that's off one of the Ybor City trolleys. Yes, they're going to fix that. That's what they do here. Anything under 6,000 pounds is considered a small motor. These are small motors. They don't look small to me, but wait till you see the big ones that they're working on here now. Giving you a little history lesson about the company that started in 1921 and the same family still own and operated Tampa Armature Works when Good Day Tampa Bay continues.
And then Charley Belcher is at the original Armature Works this morning. We'll check in with him when we come back.
Good day, Tampa Bay. I am at Tampa Armature Works. Yes, but not the place that serves food and drinks. Armature Works up on the Hillsborough River. Although that used to be the building owned for 50 years by Tampa Armature Works. But now we're down near Riverview. We're actually going to be in Riverview at their other building in a moment. But this is James Turner III, who happens to be the third generation James Turner. This company's always been run by a James Turner so far.
It has. It's been 3 of us so far in a row.
President and CEO, ladies and gentlemen, continuing this since 1921. All began with small motor repair and work. And these are,
These are small
Yeah,
motors.
these are, believe it or not, these are small motors, anything under 6,000 pounds. But this was the bread and butter, Mr. Turner, of the business.
It is, and it's very important because we do a lot more small motors than we do large motors. We do about 300 units a month here, and the large size closer to 60 units a month.
Let's go look at the large size, because, man, it is rather impressive. And as we walk through here, I'm going to actually explain, well, I'm not going to explain, I'm going to show, maybe you can explain, what an armature is. Laura Moody was talking about it earlier, but that black piece of machinery right there, that is the armature of a motor?
Of a motor. That's a direct current motor. That technology is not used as much today as it had been in the past. The new motors are mostly alternating current.
But that's why it's Armature, Tampa Armature Works, because that's, in 1921, that's what you worked on more than anything else.
That was the technology at that time.
All right, well, we'll lead the way now. And you can see this is a massive building. We want to make sure, Jason, watch your feet as we cross the tracks here. Massive building, and this is one of many buildings you've got not only here in Florida, but all over the place now.
Right, the lower 5 states we have facilities at.
I mean, this what started in downtown Tampa in 1921 has really become a massive company.
Well, thank you. It's the hard work of a lot of very good people. So
Now,
Florida, whether you recognize it or not, is flat. So nothing can be conveyed by gravity. Everything has to be pumped. So this is an example of a pump out of a power plant.
And that's just, people watching right now have benefited from the work of Tampa Armature Works, whether they know it or not, because if you got power in your house, chances are you guys have helped that happen.
We have. We've been very fortunate.
Now, what's happening here, Mr. Turner? Where's this going now? You fixed it and it's going back home?
Yes, it is. This pump is going to an electric utility, and this helps cool the generators.
Okay.
So it pumps fresh water or seawater, and it helps the plant operate efficiently.
Wow. And then, Jason, if you twist down and see there, we see that giant propeller down there. They're balancing that. That's for another project, right?
It is. That is a low-pressure, high-volume pump. And it looks like a ship propeller, and that's pretty much the same mechanical design.
And you can see, I mean, this is large scale. Now, when we come back, we're actually going to be in Riverview. We're very close to Riverview now, but technically in Tampa. But we're going to get in the car. We're going to drive about 10 minutes away and show you more of the original Tampa Armature Works. Stick around, everybody, and make it a good day, Tampa Bay. Not worthy. You might have a fashion show, though, at Armature Works on the Hillsborough River. I can see that happening there. But not at Tampa Armature Works, where I am. I am officially in Riverview because we moved to another one of their locations. This is where they do a lot of their custom work. They can build just about anything. Generators for the military, control units for theme parks, motors galore. It's Tampa Armature Works. Big business, been around since 1921, still owned and operated by the same family. I'll tell you what they do here, or we'll get somebody who actually knows more about it than I do to tell us all what they're doing here when Good Day Tampa Bay continues. Good day, Tampa Bay. I'm Charley Belcher coming to you from Riverview now, from Tampa Armature Works. Company's been around since 1921. Always, the president and CEO so far has been a James Turner. Happens to be James Turner III now, whose daughter is now officially on board. So eventually it won't be a James Turner.
No.
It'll be a Caroline. She's going to change the world, I'm sure.
Absolutely.
I have great faith in Caroline, and I know you do too. So this building we're in now is what?
It's called custom equipment.
Custom equipment. So it started in 1921, all about working on motors.
It did, but we quickly understood we needed to work on what started and stopped the motor, and then what the motor turned. So you saw an example of a pump at the other facility. Right. So 80% of all electric motors are either driving fans or pumps. So this is the control systems which start and stop the motors and vary their speed.
And what we see happening in this particular building is what you used the old Armature Works building for on the Hillsborough River for 50 years.
Correct. This was our manufacturing facility that we moved from there to here. So what you're looking at is some mobile military systems. These are transformers. So if you put up a tent in the middle of the desert, you want air conditioning, you want water, you want communications, you want to be able to cook. So these go in the middle of a desert and connect to a generator and provide power to your tent for environmental, lighting, and earth quality.
Anything we see that color, that tan brown color, that's for the military. So just goes to show how widespread Tampa Armature Works clients are. That, I mean, you're building stuff that's being used probably in Afghanistan and who knows where. You probably don't even know where.
No, I don't. It won't tell me either.
Yeah, but that's a big deal. And then on this end, this sort of housing unit, I mean, you'll custom build these for...
Well, these particular units are for covering up generators. In the state of Florida, the covers have to have a wind load rating, and many of these have a projectile rating to keep boards, coconut palms, anything from penetrating the generator wall.
So that's just interesting that you do so much more than where it all began.
Well, we had to grow, we had to diversify.
Got to evolve, right? Sure.
So this is all part of a slow evolution of 100 years.
Yeah, no, I mean, it is a lot, but yeah, it's been 100 years just about. Next year, well, in 2021, you'll be celebrating that mark. How many employees are you up to now under the umbrella of Tampa Armature Works?
A little under 700, scattered over 5 states. So this facility has about 100 employees at it. The one up the street has close to 100. So this is actually now the corporate office. So,
and you think your grandfather had any idea that little motor company he started in 1921 in downtown Tampa?
Well, I think he's smiling on me.
Yeah.
So
I think he's too.
He was sort of my hero.
Well, good for you. Good for you. Thank you very much, Mr. Turner. Appreciate it. When we come back, and look at a smaller scale, but more of what they do at Tampa Armature Works.
All right. We'll see you later on. Thank you. Charley is at the real Armature Works this morning. Hey.
That's right. The originators. The Tampa Armature Works. Been around since 1921. And back then, James Turner was his name that started that company. All about working on motors and big motors, repair, fixing those sorts of things. He would not even be able to dream or fantasize about the work that's now being done in this building, all still under the umbrella of Tampa Armature Works. But James Turner III, that James Turner's grandson, he's going to tell us exactly what's happening here. And I will tell you, if you've ever been to a big theme park over in Orlando, You've benefited from the work happening right here. We'll explain next. Good day, Tampa Bay. I'm Charley Belcher coming to you from Riverview today from Tampa Armature Works. No, don't email me and say, oh, you dummy, don't you know that's not in Riverview, that's in Tampa? Different Armature Works. So that place you're thinking of, Armature Works, that we've talked about with restaurants and bars and event space on the Hillsborough River, that was home to this company for 50 years, one of their buildings. The businesses that took over wanted to keep the name, pay tribute to the history of Tampa, so it's Armature Works. But Tampa Armature Works still going strong here now in Riverview. James Turner III, his grandfather started it, father worked here, you've taken it over, your daughter, all this will be hers one day.
Absolutely.
And in the room we're in now, your grandfather, that James Turner I, he wouldn't have been able to comprehend what's happening in here.
Well, all new control systems now have digital communications between them, and way back when in his time, we started and stopped things by pushing buttons, but here we start and stop things by a laptop or a tablet. So all the control systems you see around here talk to one another, and they're all integrated. So if you're over at a theme park, you'll see somebody standing at a kiosk, and the control systems or the guts behind how it works are being done right here.
So what we see this gentleman right here working on, it may end up over in Central Florida at a theme park controlling a ride. You can't tell me any more details about it.
Or it could be at a wastewater treatment plant, or it could go to a processing plant somewhere.
So the same technology doing all of that?
It is. So basically what you have is a computer and the ability to turn it off and tell it all different kinds of communications and directions. So
and you're not only putting it together, but you're designing that.
We do. We engineer, furnish, and install, EF&I. So we have a large engineering staff that fortunately, due to the younger people that are coming along, their programming skills are excellent, which is what we need.
Isn't that funny? You said a lot of millennials are in that department.
They're doing the programming.
Well, there was a time where I was the only one that could program a VCR in the house, so I understand how that works. Now I see a similar color over there, Mr. Turner, and I know whenever I see that color, it's probably a military contract. So is this some high-tech stuff for the military as well?
Actually, it's something very simple. It is a regional lighting center, and inside of that are poles, and you would, if you had a tent city, you'd set this in the middle of your tent city, and you'd put the light poles up and provide lighting for the soldiers.
Oh, wow. So that could end up overseas?
It's
wherever the
it never stays domestically. It's gone.
Oh, it's always international. Wow. Well, this has been fascinating all day today. Tampa Armature Works. Mr. Turner, thank you very much.
Thank you.
I appreciate that. And good luck to your daughter and her kids, and may the Turners keep going on for another 100 years.
Thank you again.
Thank you. Russell Rhodes, there you go. Not quite the Armature Works you think of nowadays, but now you know the rest of the story. Thank you, Paul Harvey. You know why that is Armature Works, and you know Tampa Armature Works still going strong.
Well, all they need is a rooftop bar, and they're done.
We'll talk to the employees. Maybe a rooftop bar, Mr. Turner? Maybe? He says maybe.
See you later, man. Take care.